Hello everyone and welcome back to this episode of Obsidian Craft. Before I start, I would just like to get some things off my chest briefly. So if you want to skip this at any point, we'll have a timestamp on screen now. Pardon me if I don't know what I'm talking about all the time. Sometimes I don't really know how to talk about this very well. It just because of, I guess, short-term memories, not being good at that stuff. I think these days it's not super unusual for me to occasionally get to a point where, like, everything just kind of feels like it sucks or like nothing feels good in my life anymore. But, I mean, those are stuff that just lasts for a day or two or whatever. But I think I've been bothered a bit by the fact that I've been dealing with some kind of stress stuff and feeling like I'm not able to talk about it here, or being scared about talking about it here or with people online. And this is basically me putting a stop to that right now, because one of the things I hate the most, for me anyway, I don't necessarily mean if other people do it, I just mean that it hurts me if I do this, is bottling stuff up and not being able to talk about it. Maybe it's because I'm fed up with that sort of thing, because I've done that a lot in the past. Maybe it's because honesty is one of the main things that I care about. And see, now I'm losing my train of thought, so I don't even know what I was talking about. Yeah, I think I've been feeling pressure from YouTube and people online sometimes about basically me worrying about being judged negatively. One of the other reasons I want to talk about this is because I feel like people on YouTube and social media sometimes make you feel like everything in their life is perfect or whatnot. And I kind of want to be able to talk about what's going on, but also give people the opportunity to dodge it by providing the timestamp on screen. You know, I was much better at explaining this stuff off the recording, but I guess it can't be helped. We'll just hope that this can be cobbled together into something that makes sense. When it comes to this stuff, it is kind of tricky, because when it comes to communication about this sort of stuff, it's kind of difficult to explain everything and then even remember everything that is relevant. I think yesterday or the day before, yeah, in those 2 days or whatever, I was once again feeling kind of like nothing in my life was really... Basically, I was questioning what's the point in living. And I know that sounds extreme, but I'm choosing those words kind of carefully. I don't mean I want to die or anything. I just mean that it can be hard to know what's the point sometimes. And also, when you're in the midst of school, sometimes, like, even though I'm taking a break, because school got to be a bit much for me, and I decided that the best way to recover and still be able to continue was just take my summer off, instead of just stuffing myself with more work. But, yeah, I think I'm rambling about this a little bit and not giving the full picture. I don't really know what I have and haven't said. And at this point, I've basically recovered to the point where I might not be able to remember everything or why I was feeling off. I think, to summarize it, though, the reason I was feeling off, I basically wanted to be able to talk about this stuff, and that's why I wasn't feeling good, like, yesterday, the day before. And now, of course, I'm nervous, I guess, about talking about this. Well, more about just talking about it so that it actually makes sense, and so that it's not a super long, rambly thing that makes no sense. But ultimately, I think I was feeling pressure from YouTube and people online, and basically worrying about being judged negatively, and I think that's just part of social anxiety. Um, and the main thing is that I felt like I couldn't talk about it, and I wanted that to stop right now. I also felt like I would feel like I had to try and force myself to seem happier than I am during a recording, or to talk in a certain way, maybe. I'm not saying that everything was fake or anything. But the way I see it is that trying to put effort to making yourself happy is good, but there's a certain point where it's too much. Like eating too much chocolate, or, surprising enough, this is a thing, getting too much sleep, that is a thing, or playing too many video games all day. I think I see it kind of that way too. There's a point where you're going too far, and you're forcing yourself to be happy when underneath it makes you feel like crap. And there have been little bits and pieces of that sprinkled throughout my videos where I haven't quite felt right. But one of the reasons why I want to do this is because this is something that feels, good in my life, and cool to see about trying the YouTube stuff, the playing here a bunch, even if makes me face my fears and stuff. And that's also good because I think that facing your fears and getting something good in your life in return, I think, is a really good thing to do, because you have incentive to keep going, and you have basically there's a reason not to stop, because if you stop, then you're left with those bad feelings and the rejection of the good things that could have been there. Basically, and I guess I haven't really gotten to explaining clearly where this really came from. I think really what happened is, if I have any advice for you, if you haven't moved out yet, learn to cook, because this time around, what I think is that I was dealing with issues and stuff, but I had energy to deal with them. But then I started having issues with eating and sleeping properly, and then just within a few couple days, it's just whether or not I'm good or not just kind of fluctuates from time to time, quickly over short periods of time. And this time around, I wasn't feeling great because I was having trouble eating and sleeping properly. And then that took away my energy to be able to deal with my issues. So, yeah, if you eat a lot of the same thing, it kind of doesn't feel good. I don't necessarily want to apply that everything in terms of like eating and cooking and stuff, in terms of like stomach. I don't know if you can hear the is it a police or ambulance siren outside? I'm gonna guess ambulance, because I don't think I've seen a single police car with sirens when I'm actually outside. It's generally always been an ambulance. Yeah, I'm just rambling about random stuff now. I'm not sure if I was able to. Oh yeah, eating too much of the same thing, and then cooking simple things, that works for a while, but you'll want to see about, cooking some higher level meals and stuff later on too, because it'll make you feel good. Basically, I was finding that like just making eggs and potatoes and maybe broccoli kind of separately. I don't know, the recipes I had were limited, and there wasn't a whole lot of different things I could do. Let me see here. I think that pretty much covers that. I'm not really sure whether I was able to communicate everything quite right, but I think, one last thing I want to leave you with is that because of that, I don't want to force myself to commentate in XYZ way. I want to commentate in a way that feels right. And I guess one other thing is that you might be wondering why I'm willing to talk to do this when YouTube comments are like one of the worst places for potentially getting judged negatively. And my answer is kind of similar to before, is that facing your fears in exchange for something good in your life. And facing your fears is much better than avoiding them, and in this case, I get something good in return. It also helps that I think YouTube comments is one of the places where I feel like I have thicker skin than other places. Not necessarily the best, but, you know, if there is negative stuff, then regardless of how it makes me feel, then it's practice for getting better. And, yeah, and that's something I want to see about doing. Only if I actually have incentive to do this, though. Alright, I'm not sure if I was able to talk about everything the way I don't know, I think in my chest or whatever, it feels like I'm worried that, like, well, not really that worried, but, like, kind of nervous or something about whether or not I've really been able to talk about everything here right, and I swear to God, if this recording messed up and I have to do this again, oh, I'm not going to be happy. I think you can get why. Because, like, it's hard enough. It's basically like flip a coin as to whether or not I can explain this right, because I feel like it's kind of patchworky. I'm just kind of left at the whims of my own memory to what I am and am not able to remember and then explain. And I also generally find that explaining feelings in general is kind of tricky. Okay, so I think that's everything I can think of for the moment. Basically, I want to open the doors to me being able to talk about this here. Not in a separate... Oh, and not in a separate video, even though I was worried about the potential of talking about this stuff in a Minecraft video like this, and then dragging people who just want to watch a Minecraft video into it. But the skip thing is there, so that deals with that, and I don't want to put it in a separate video because I don't want to make it overly negative and stuff. This is just, you know, I'm dealing with some stuff, but as long as I can really talk about it, can really feel really good. And to some degree, that makes the bad stuff worth it, because otherwise it would kind of make it a bit harder to feel good, I guess. Because if you can't feel good all the time. Oh, I think one other thing I was thinking or feeling was that there are all these sayings and quotes about feeling good or being courageous in the face of opposition in terms of, like, your own mind or something. I think to some degree I'd had enough of always trying to be positive and optimistic and not respecting your own quote-unquote bad feelings when I don't think they should be. It just felt like it shouldn't be treated that way. I think sometimes it's good to just kind of calm down, relax, or... No, that's not quite... Basically, stop putting in an effort and just kind of interface and respect and actually talk to the things that are bothering you within yourself or whatever. And even if it kind of sucks for a little while to not feel good exactly, it sucks even more to feel that you're lying even to yourself, that you're good all the time when you're not. You know, one thing that is bothering me is whether or not I'll forget something to talk about here, and then later in the video I'll want to talk about it. And I don't want to make people skip all the time, so what I might do is have it so that if I talk about this stuff further on in the video at all, I'll just ask my editor, wink wink, I'm asking you right here and now, if I talk about this stuff any further in the video, just edit it on at the end of my discussion here, so that people don't have to skip the video multiple times. Just have it all at the beginning. I'm not sure if I'll talk about it a whole lot more, but maybe I'll, like, randomly chat about it while I'm doing stuff. So, yeah, maybe you can put it at the end of this little section or whatever, so that, you know, the whole thing can be skipped by people. Whew. Well, that felt good. I still think I need to take a few deep breaths to kind of let a bunch of nerves off or whatever. Does everyone want to zen with me for a little bit? This reminds me of a video that never got uploaded, where I was dealing with villagers, and they were so annoying that I had the roof of the place I was building was like a tree farm, essentially, where I was growing trees there, and I literally went up there, top floor, with all the trees and literally just zenned for a while. And it was literally me in this perspective with the cinematic camera thingy going like, breathe in, breathe out. And doing that for like a good 20 minutes. I think it was a long time for like a YouTube video. So last video, I intended to work on the villager hall. Didn't get there because I wanted to finish up our little storage system. And right before we started recording, I did a few more touches on this. Still kind of experimenting with certain designs. Like you notice here, we've got some kind of, I don't know, arrows. It's meant to be kind of circular. But over here, it's different. And then over there, there's nothing at all. It's because I'm still kind of unsure what to do with it. And this here, kind of similar. It's got a bit of an interesting design here. I'm not quite sure about it. There's going to be more. This is going to be kind of a bit of a quartz wall here. And of course, there's this design here, which I'm actually pretty happy with, which kind of spurred me on to kind of get some other stuff going. I like this, which I kind of added. And we've got a chest here, kind of just set up for the future. And we've got some more hoppers and stuff set up. And there is... I've gotten sidetracked now. I'm not even talking about the villager hall and stuff, but let's finish this off before we move on to that. We've added a new little part to the redstone because what I found out was that when there are no items going through, what happened is that the minecart would just go back and forth indefinitely and activate the T flip-flop non-stop, which was very noisy. And I figured it was not good to just leave it as it is, so... Let's see if I can manage to explain this. Okay, so the way that, basically what the system I have set up here doing is to detect, before we had, okay, is this chest empty and is this hopper empty? If so, get the chest going, whatever. Now what we have is, okay, if these guys are actually empty for a long period of time, which is what this is, if they're empty for a while, then that means... all the item sorting is done. There are no more items. Stop sending the minecart back and forth because it's making too much noise. So when that happens, what happens is that essentially this rail up here turns off. So when this rail turns off, it keeps the chest there, chest minecart there, and it doesn't keep going back and forth all the time. And that way, before I had it down here, but if I keep it up here, that means that this... or basically which mode this T flip-flop is in, will stay in loading this chest mode, so that when new items come through, it actually can make it here and then actually activate this, which then gets this going again. Because if I froze the chest minecart here, it would be in the wrong mode, therefore meaning that this would be locked, which means no items could ever get down here, which means it could never actually recover from the chest having been stopped. So, let me see here. So yeah, if both of them get emptied, then this sends the minecart on its way immediately, regardless of the modes. And, and then the detector rail over there reactivates the T flip-flop, which is slightly different than how we had it before, but, it's mainly because before, in like an earlier video, we had the chest minecart going off like this, and so it wasn't activating the detector rail when it left, but now it is. So that's why this system is no longer triggering the T flip-flop itself. It's just sending it on its way and letting the chest minecart activate on its way out. Now what we have is a bit of a delay here, so that when this is off for a long period of time, then the rail over there gets turned off, as I showed before. But then, of course, if an item does get put back in there, this immediately blocks it so that it doesn't stop it, or something like that. The timings right now just seem to be pretty good, and essentially meaning that if there are no more items left to sort in, then the chest basically gets stuck on that rail there. I'm not sure if I can really explain it much more than that. Hopefully, if you're really curious, you'll be able to take the video footage I'm giving you now to try and work through it. As best you can. I've gotten completely sidetracked. I was talking about the villager hall, and now I'm basically showing everything that's happened between recordings and stuff, which, I mean, is a good thing to do, but, like, we're gonna end up forgetting. Now we've got some wood walls and stuff, just after the redstone got messed up, I'm like, okay, let's start covering stuff up. It's still uncovered. There's kind of the roof to deal with, which is going to be its whole kind of project on itself, getting hold of black wool. I've got some sheep dyed already back in my village, which I actually haven't shown off on camera, but you'll probably get to see it this video, because that's where my villagers are, and we'll be transporting them from there to here as part of the villager hall stuff. I'm not sure how much we'll be able to get done today because it's kind of a big project, and I also actually intend, before we do that, I'm actually going to fight the Wither. I think I've only ever fought the Wither once before, and it was with other people, so we'll see how well it goes, and I'm not going to test it ahead of time and on some, like, cheated survival single-player world or something. We're just going to go for it and see what happens. Worst case scenario, I think, I basically lose the Wither and I have to go get more skulls, which I don't think was super hard. Pretty sure we were recording for, the recording didn't actually mess up for that. That was when we were at the Nether Fortress, and I was feeling subconscious my commentary was crapola. So those are the 3 Wither skeleton skulls we have there. Oh, what was I talking about? And after that, we'll go ahead and do the villager hall. Worst case scenario, we just lose the Wither skeleton skulls, and we can probably just go get back and get more. Oh, wait, we can't, because... And now we've got our old nether back, because apparently that was a mistake. So... Even though there's, like, literally there's, like, 2 nether fortresses I found at this point in that nether, we're back to the original nether, the nether in which I haven't actually discovered a nether fortress, so if we need more Wither skeleton skulls, it's actually going to be a bit of a chore to get more. But I would like to get a beacon going. I think that would be cool, and there's been rumors going around that I'm apparently the Great Overlord. So... we gotta make sure we live up to that name with our little villager hall and a beacon. Because my ultimate goal has indeed been to be more powerful than anyone else, or at the very least, be more powerful than most everyone else. That has, I think, been my goal for basically my whole time in Obsidian Craft. As you can probably tell, my villager setup is not the best. It's, some villagers have already vanished, including my Fortune 3 villager. So we're going to have to get that dealt with pretty quickly. But first we're going to go fight the Wither. Before we continue, I have a bunch of paper in my inventory, so I'm just going to... There we go. Apparently you can press enter. I think you have to start this trade going, and then after you press and hold shift and click to get it in your inventory, you just press enter to add more back into here. So that's how I did that, if you're wondering. I found that out recently just by experimenting. So I don't know if I've actually said this or whether I got cut off, but is there any, like, cool games you guys have gotten a hold of? Video games or otherwise? Maybe a cool board game? Maybe you've made up a card game to play with your family, maybe? I don't know. Tell me about something cool in your life. Or fun, or anything, really. Doesn't have to be happy. Or fun. It can just be something you want to chat about. Did I? Yes, I did. I took the ceiling down a bit. Ooh, I'm kind of nervous, but because of the Wither now. Alright. Watch the recording mess up right now. Be like, up. Nope, denied. Also, I wonder, is this a mob that'll despawn under the same circumstances as other mobs? Because that begs the question. If it does, that's a bit disappointing if, like, I lag out or something. But if it doesn't, it's, like, free to cause mayhem, basically. But maybe it would be frozen in a specific chunk unless someone was there, so... I don't know. Let's go! Okay. got a wither head. Invulnerable wither's head. Oh, is that normal to get? Awesome. If it isn't, it's like a random chance. That's awesome. Whew. Well, the lava there was a bit of a scare. It's like, oh no, I'm starting to lose health, and my escape route was blocked by lava, and now I'm not successfully blocking it, and I'm walking into the lava. Wow, a lava lake right here. Well, bad luck, except that it didn't end up mattering. Oh, wow, that launched me into the air. Here, and also that it ended up with me getting diamonds. Sweet, because at least according to KP anyway, that you can there's a higher chance of finding diamonds near lava. Don't know if that's true or not. Well, I think that was a pretty good success. I mean, you got another star, and an invulnerable wither's head, and 15 diamonds for free. Nice. So now we're left with the annoying task of pillaring up to there because I knocked myself off. How did I fall off again? Oh, the minecart dropped off into the ocean. Ah, that's too bad. I, Master and CEO of Creef BioKittenese Base, I proclaim the Creeper reign of Dominion destruction. We will destroy everything in our path, except our base, this house, that is. We will keep it intact, that is, unless the previous owner challenges us. You can tell how much I care about this because I'm turning my back on my audience right now. Oh, great. I'm looking straight at the camera because I want to make sure you understand this point. We will rule the world. Oh. That was the shortest reign ever. I have no idea whether or not this is the end of the video or not. We'll see. Depends on how much footage I've given KP, the editor, to work with. If it's a lot of footage, we'll probably make this one video and just leave it at that. And then I can work on the villager hall. Next episode, that's twice now that I've said, this is what we're doing. Oh, but wait, we're doing this first. And then that ended up taking up the whole video. So I'll say goodbye here, whether or not it's for the episode or not. So I actually have no idea whether or not I should do a spiel or not. Okay. See you in a bit. Either way.